Welcome to the Fighting on Film podcast, the podcast all about classic and obscure war movies, from the Normandy landings to the days of chivalry and swords. If it's been captured on film, we're going to try and cover it. I'm Robbie of RM Military History.
I'm Matthew Moss of Historical Firearms and the Armourer's Bench. Hello and welcome back to Fighting on Film. This week we are doing one of our frequent features where we do a show and tell and we talk about some of the stuff that we've been watching in recent days and talk about them in brief, not go into too much detail, just share some of our thoughts and perhaps decide whether we're going to come back and do a full episode on them in the future. This week, do you want me to start, Rob?
If you'd like to, mate, yeah.
While I was away on holiday, Rob held down the fort while I was away. I thought, you know what, I'll do a little bit of light holiday viewing, and I thought I'll watch Channel 4's Undeclared War.
Light viewing. And he watches a series about a devastating cyber attack on the United Kingdom. And this man, if you knew what Matt does as a day job, I won't out him on that. I won't go into too much detail about Matt's day job. But Matt, for that to be light viewing for Matthew Moss is saying a lot.
So it was very much, obviously there's the ongoing war in Ukraine, and it's all about a Russian cyber attack on the UK. And it was super interesting. I thought, this looks really good for the trailers. They did like a kind of War of the Worlds type promo for it, where they broadcast a thing where it said, I can't remember the
It was like a blank screen, wasn't it? It was like, please stand by. It was quite. I remember seeing it.
It was like the War of the Worlds radio promos and the show that they did, and everyone thought it was real. But yeah, it was interesting. It was written and directed by Peter Kominsky, who has done some amazing series over the years, like Warriors, which is one we're really looking forward to doing on the show.
Warriors is fantastic. We need to talk that soon. Warriors,
lots of documentary work, all sorts of different things. So I thought this is going to be good. But I came away feeling it was a little bit lacking.
Right.
It stars Simon Pegg as the head of GCHQ, which is the head of the British sort of cyber intelligence surveillance wing. It's got Mark Rylance in there. I thought, Mark Rylance,
big names.
This is going to be good. And it's headed up by a young up and coming actress, Hannah Kelly-Brown, and it had a quite strong cast, and they were putting in some good performances. But basically, there was a lot of lead up to not a lot of Undeclared War. So I wasn't sat there expecting threads. I'll be honest. I wasn't expecting. No. I was expecting to see the repercussions of a cyber attack and what impacts that had, how a cyber attack could bring real world infrastructure down to its knees, that kind of thing. And it was only ever talked about. We never saw any evidence of it. So they're in GCHQ, and they say that NHS has just had a massive cyber attack and BT's had a massive cyber attack. And we can't phone or text, or the internet's down, and
right,
that's great. Okay, so that's bad. And then they're like, well, the NHS has been struck as well, and the power grid. Well, I'm not seeing any of that. Even in the bits where they go outside, and there's real world bits, you don't feel like people are worried about the cyber attack.
Not enough panic going on. Not enough. It's just the thing with these dramas. Sometimes they don't go beyond what they're in. They have their set, they have their main characters. They don't think about the wider world building, which for something like this is really important. Like take Threads, that world building of that is really in depth. Something like the War Game, it shows you every facet of society. It goes quite broad. I remember reading some of I haven't seen this myself, but I remember seeing some of the reviews, and they were like, "Yeah, it's almost good enough. It's not. It's lacking something."
So it has some interesting storytelling mechanisms, and it does like a mind palace thing, because you think about cyber warfare and it's just like people typing and clicking stuff, and it's on computers. And apparently they had like a cyber security company advise them on what would look real.
Oh, cool.
But obviously that might be a little bit dry for people to watch someone typing code in, which there is a fair bit of that. So like they did this mind palace thing where it's like she's there with a tool belt on, banging a hammer against some bricks to find the way in and stuff. And it sounds cool and it's interesting and some of it works, but some of it doesn't. So she'll open a door and she'll be in like the Lake District and it's just hills and a valley. And then she'll turn a corner and it'll be in an office block or she'll be in an alleyway. And it's all very symbolistic and some of it's on the nose. And it works to a degree, but it gets a little bit repetitive. And then there's a bit where she meets an opposing hacker who's trying to help the UK. He doesn't agree with the cyber attack that's going on. And they meet in an office block and sit in like a meeting room. And it's just like, okay, so we've gone from Mind Palace to meeting room.
Having a bit of a,
just having a chat.
Trying to make it real, trying to make an online conversation look like a real life conversation.
The jeopardy is gone, there's no like, oh no, like, how are they going to communicate? Well, they're in their mind palaces. But Mark Rylance was criminally underused. Like, really
I didn't remember seeing him in the trailers, to be fair.
I was like, is that Mark Rylance? Because I hadn't looked at the credits and I was sat there watching it with my partner. And I was like, is that Mark Rylance? And she looked at me and said, oh God, it is. And he plays this sort of old holdover from the old intelligence service where he's a former cryptologist. Now he does like grammar. Apparently spell checks everyone's grammar in GCHQ or something. That's how they introduce him. And you're thinking, what?
He's a human Microsoft paperclip, this boy.
Yeah, he basically he's there tapping on the screen. Do you need help with this document? So the main character, Sarah.
You seem to be under a cyber attack. How can I help?
Do you need assistance? He's there frantically tap, tap, tap. He sits down with Sarah and has lunch with her, and there's a bit where she's like, nothing here is halal because he's Muslim. And I feel like there's definitely halal food at GCHQ. Like,
yeah,
it was
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
You would. It's an inclusive workspace. It's supposed to be like a very good employer. But her whole backstory is really odd because she's portrayed as this intern. She's there just before, like, several months into a uni course, and then she's doing a year's internship at GCHQ. And on her first day at GCHQ, she finds the back door to a massive DDoS attack virus thing that's been put onto the networks through BT.
It's all a little bit contrived then.
I can't imagine that a first day intern would be given access to the virus that's attacking the UK internet.
It's a little bit like, here's a supercomputer, bye, have fun.
Yeah, like they just give her it. And then it's bizarre because they're like section head is sat on the computer next to her, like typing away furiously, and she like go, and he gets pissed because she finds the back door and he hasn't even found it. So then for like half the series, he's passive aggressive to her. And I'm just sat there thinking,
everything you're saying to me now, I haven't seen it, but everything you're saying sounds like it would have worked better in like a sort of like a comedy drama almost. It seems like it might have done a better.
It's like The Office meets.
Sort of sounds like that, yeah. The way
bizarre.
Yeah. That might have been good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe
what's
talking
Veep, isn't it?
Talking to the audience perhaps might have been nice, breaking the fourth wall they're saying, maybe explaining how this coding works. Because the layman, the man in the street,
we know nothing about it. Yeah, no. I couldn't tell you how any of it works.
You've been techno-babble, but looking at the camera going, right, see, now I'm going to put this number in and this number does this. But if you put this in, this does this.
There was a little bit of...
Was there some of that in there?
There was a little bit of them explaining how code could be hidden in what is considered rubbish, like just like... So it's lost in a massive wall of just gibberish text and that kind of thing, which was interesting enough. And yeah,
my wife, she codes in for her job. So I assume she'd find that interesting, but it's like you've got to make it accessible. That's the problem. Then you can water it down, can't you? It may seem a little bit hackney and maybe a bit fake.
So of course there's a spy element to all this, and they do like a deep fake Mark Rylance at one point. So
amazing.
They super underuse Mark Rylance. So he has a couple of nice scenes with Sarah, and he does a bit of expo, and he explains something. He helps her crack a code, and she gets an idea. But then the next thing you know, he's dead. He's been murdered.
Gosh.
So, but you don't find that out until later in this episode, because he appears on Russian TV and it's like a deep fake of him in Moscow going, well, I want to tell everyone about the British intelligence service, and it's a deeply evil organization, and this is what we've been doing, and it's all fake, and it's but then they dig his garden up and they find him dead, and you're like, oh, so that's the end of Mark Rylance's involvement in any of this then. And it's bizarre.
Seemed like they were getting a name in to pin the drama on, perhaps.
But that's like episode 4 into a 6-episode run where he turns up dead.
6 episodes long? I thought it was 6 like episodes. A 3-part.
No, it's
drama.
Really long. And
God,
for all of its problems and shortcomings, every episode did leave me going, oh, I wonder what happens next.
Right.
I wonder what happens next week. But the only problem is, when we got to the last episode, the culmination of this cyber war was underwhelming. Because I won't give any spoilers, because it ends in a very convenient manner. Because there's a really interesting aspect to it where the hack leads GCHQ's data to be accessed by the Russians, FSB, and the Russians get access to all of the US NSA's data that they've shared with the UK. So all of their exploits, all of their agents get. So kind of like the Russians got the knock list, basically.
Yeah.
And the special relationship kind of like grinds to a halt, apparently, which is an interesting aspect to it. But
that sounds interesting in itself. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's all kind of underdone. It's like Simon Pegg's character is like getting browbeaten by the Prime Minister. It's like, why are we under a cyber attack, Simon? Why haven't you prevented this? What are we paying GCHQ for? What are you doing? What are you actually doing over there? And he's just sat there like looking into the middle distance, trying not to make eye contact with anyone. And I'm like, holy shit, Simon, you're like head of GCHQ. You would definitely
Have you tried turning on and off again, Simon?
Yeah.
Simon!
So it was interesting. It wasn't bad. I mean, I don't regret watching it. But it wasn't what I hoped it would be.
I saw the marketing for it. I thought the marketing campaign was really good, because I was on TikTok and I scrolled up and it was like as if the screen was being eaten by like
clever.
By like a virus, and then it like flickered and went into the trailer for the show, and I thought, that looks really great. And then
that's cool.
When the reviews came out, it didn't look like it would be for me, so I left it.
I was surprised it was 6 episodes long.
I was too. I didn't know that. Yeah, it didn't seem like it would have been. So that was the Undeclared War that Matt watched there. That's on Channel 4. I'm sure you can catch up on 4OD.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that one.
That's where I watched it.
But you may have seen on the Twitter, because we have the 4 hypotheticals, we have the one word reviews, but our lesser spotted executive producer Katie, she sometimes puts a rogue tweet out. And she asked our Twitter followers a few days ago, she asked, I wonder how many food-related items we can sneak into war movie titles. And she said, a pock of chips now. But we had some absolute crackers on this thread. And I think we had nearly 200 replies, which was incredible.
Yeah.
So thanks again, everyone, for getting involved. Because
the phone notifications were lit.
Oh, God, yeah, my phone was going bing, 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 bing. I thought my phone was going to explode. But we had, I'll just read some out because there's some great ones. We had Brian Philpott said, Merry Christmas cake, Mr. Lawrence. That's obscure, but good. Andy Horton said, in which we serve breakfast between 7 and 10.
Oh, God.
Operation Mincemeat was quite a good one. Mitch Sprague said, a fridge too far, with a few on that one.
Yeah, good.
Rob Shipman seemed to just have a load of these ready to go. So he had the Yangtze Gincident, Das Fruit, the Gruel Sea. Fantastic.
Dad level
jokes.
Yeah.
Johnny Doyle had quite a few. He had a Rice Colden Alex, Sergeant Yorkie, 3 Kings Mills.
Very good. Like it, John.
Full Metal Jacket Potato. And I think his best one was Breaker Meringue.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Props.
James Cooper had a few. He said Memphis Bell Peppers.
Iceberg Lettuce in Alex.
No.
And Lawrence of Arabiata.
Oh my God.
And then there's some of the
I
obvious
would also
ones.
take Lawrence of Arabica.
Yes, that's good. Yeah. We had Hamburger Hill, which writes itself. We had Pork Chop Hill that writes itself. We had Where Eagles Pair from Paul Can. My own one was Pears is the Glory.
Yes. Like it.
Then we had JD on Twitter. He said Spam Busters, Peach for the Sky. Liam Patrick 851 said 55 Days in Peking Duck.
Yeah.
Rob Shipman again came with Bunkirk.
Can't keep Rob down, can you? Wow.
I can't. No, he was in one man pun machine. We had Tall Bloke had the Frigid Megan. A few suggested that one.
I like it.
Really good. Really good. Rob Shipman again. Battle of the River Skate. Leicester Jaipur Bandido. I've not had you on the pod for a while. Nice to see you back. Flans of Our Fathers.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
The Desert Fox.
Desert Fox,
yeah.
Oh.
Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bonbons. And then The Grape Escape.
The Grape Escape. That's a good one to end on. Like it.
Yeah, there's some absolute
really
crackers.
good ones there.
And Force 10 of Mascarpone was a good one too.
Oh, that's good.
From Paul Baville of the History Rage podcast, which I thought was
interesting.
Really good.
He went with Force 10 and not just the Guns of Mascarpone.
We had that one too. That one did come up.
Okay.
Oh, and he also had Above Us the Wafers, which was really good.
Wow.
But thanks everyone for getting involved. We love doing these little fun tweets.
They're a good bit of fun, aren't
they? They really are. We did a caption competition a few weeks ago too, which went down really well. We'll be running them again. A little bit of fun. Give away
Definitely
some
follow
merchandise.
us on
Everyone's
Twitter
happy.
if you don't already. At Fighting on Film.
Hello, Robbie here. Did you know you can support the podcast on Patreon? Join the supporting cast today and gain access to exclusive perks, such as discount codes, our monthly Patreon film votes, and the chance to get exclusive merchandise before anyone else. Search Fighting on Film on Patreon or find the link on our website. Thank you. Now back to the show. So, into my show and tell this week, and I've been watching here and there Tour of Duty, the American CBS Vietnam War series from 1987. I think it had 3 seasons. I'm currently 3 episodes into season 1.
Is that the one we mentioned when we covered Hamburger Hill? Sorry, not Hamburger Hill.
Charlie Mopic.
Was it Charlie Mopic?
Might have been Charlie Mopic. Might have mentioned him in either or, actually.
Anyway, sorry.
It's been a long time. It's okay. So yeah, it's an late 80s American series, and I've watched the first 3 episodes, as I said. So I thought I'd just give my brief sort of thoughts. I really enjoy it. I've seen it here and there before, but I've never thought, right, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do season 1, season 3 over a few months.
Because
it's a sort of thing where it takes itself seriously, but it's presented in this. I almost feel like it went out at 8 o'clock. It didn't go out at 9, but it went out at 8. Do you know what I mean? There's like a feel to it. It's like a miniature Vietnam film.
It's a pre-watershed vibe.
Yeah, in like 48 minutes.
Like the A-Team, no one dies.
No, people do die. A lot of people get shot and killed and blown up. The action scenes are quite good, actually. For American TV at the time, I think it's quite well done. So the first episode sets up so there's Terrance Knox, he's a sergeant. This is his 3rd or 4th tour, he says. He's really he's your in-country man. He knows how Vietnam works. He's your main character. He plays Stuart Clayton Zeke Anderson. He was the main character. Stephen Caffrey plays Lieutenant Myron Goldman, and he's the lieutenant, the new lieutenant in country. So he's learning from Anderson, and they have a really nice relationship. They learn to respect each other. They learn to sort of how to survive each other, how they're going to get on. It's really nice. The first 3 episodes develop the main cast quite well. The first episode is quite run-of-the-mill stuff. They set the cast up. They go out on a patrol, and they blow up an arms cache of VC that have shot up their LZ, and then they escape. And there's some nice lore action in that. You see a lore being fired. It's really nice. The second episode, which I thought was really interesting, it was about tunnel warfare. And they eventually, they get the tunnelers in, and they're killed because a trip mine goes off, and the lieutenant and Anderson have to fight together to survive. But it feels like it's going to be sort of like a greatest hits of the Vietnam War. So we've had tunnel warfare. Third episode, they have taking Saigon sympathetic villagers from one hamlet to a safer hamlet down the road, down the river, down the forest, down the jungle. And you have this whole very heavy-handed, we're here to help you, GI's number one sort of thing. We have a very sort of heavy-handed messages and morals.
Yeah.
But I respect the series because it's trying to do the Vietnam War justice 20 years after, 25 years after. I think it does it well. The kit's good. In the pilot, they've got the wrong Mitchell helmet covers. There's some iffy webbing here and there. But when the series proper kicks in from episode 2, Mitchell covers come in, the kit gets a little better. Everyone's running around with an M16A1. The VC have the right sort of weaponry.
Do they have 20-round mags?
Yes, they do.
Good. Okay.
They do. It's really nice. And there's a lot of mag changes as well, which is quite nice. And the LT's got like a map case, but then you've got Anderson, who is a bit more relaxed. He's got like a vest under his third patch, so he's cut the sleeves off his third pattern jacket. He carries a shotgun sometimes, as well as his M16. There's a nice little personalization. And then you've got they bring in the race element as well. So you've got black soldiers, and you see how they're treated. You've got a soldier of Puerto Rican descent. You see how he's treated, and you've got a big burly Californian guy who is a vegetarian, and he's a bit of an interesting character. So it's a sort of cliched representation.
Have they said what year it's set in?
I can't work it out, but I think it's meant to be 1968.
Right.
I think it's meant just to be around Tet or just before Tet. And I know that as the series goes on, spoilers, it's not really a spoiler, but on season 3, they become Mac v SOG. So they get transferred, and apparently it's meant to take place within about one tour. So season 1 to 3 is one tour,
right?
I think. And that would make sense to me from what I've read. And it was quite a popular series. I know it's been issued on DVD again a few times. You can get it. It's quite expensive when it comes up, but I've got one.
Of course you do.
Well, I had actually touch the other day. I bought a Blu-ray player, which unbeknown to me was an unregion locked DVD player in one thing for £5 from a charity shop.
Amazing.
So
next week, Rob's going to come on and go, I bought a Betamax. And it's amazing. I bought a mini disc player and it's fabulous.
I've got Saving Private Ryan on Laserdisc.
I've got 8 copies of Saving Private Ryan on VHS and a combi TV to watch it on. It's amazing.
That would be, if anyone knows me, that would probably be something I'd do anyway. But
I used to watch it on a combi.
Yeah. But I think you can rent it off of Amazon Prime as well. And I think
I've seen it on one of them. Yeah, I don't know which one.
The streaming service Plex has season 2, which is on my TV. So if you want to watch season 2, go ahead. If you don't mind, you can watch it on Plex. But I think it's something we'll come back to, because I'd like to perhaps. I mean, we did our reunion episode with the Ungentlemanly Act and A Bridge Too Far. I'd love to get some of the cast of George Duty on to talk to them about the series, because it's a bit of a guilty pleasure for me. It's not the best thing you'll ever watch, but for a pre-Band of Brothers, pre-Pacific way of doing TV warfare, I think it's quite good. It's a bit cheesy, cliche at times, but for what it's trying to do, I think it does it well.
I'd like to see that. That does sound quite promising. So it's a bit like Combat.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, I'd say it's like Combat.
Yeah, That sounds like combat for the 80s.
Issue of the week, problem of the week, mission of the week type deal. It's like combat, but in Vietnam. Yeah.
Oh, we need to do an episode where we compare it to Spearhead.
Oh, see, Spearhead's promising. The first season of Spearhead's really good, and then season 2 is just
do you know what we do need to do? What would be really fun to do is do like a top 10 of TV
top
war
10
shows.
TV war movies.
Like Generation Kill, Band of Brothers, Spearhead.
I think Generation Kill would come bloody high on that list.
Yeah.
I think I'd upset a few because I've been rewatching Generation Kill lately, and that is really good.
It is good, actually.
Yeah.
It kind of got lost at the time, didn't it?
I think it just came out and then it was gone. Yeah. It was on FX. I remember staying up to watch it when it came out. Yeah. That was good. But anyway, if you haven't seen Tour of Duty, guys, I'd recommend it. It's a bit of a gateway into more Vietnam War content, I think. And I think it gets overlooked as well.
Well, it comes out of that glut of
it was
Vietnam War movies,
made
just
because
afterwards.
of Platoon. That's why it was made. It was made because of Platoon. But the only thing that's annoying is the DVD versions, because of the licensing of music. The original series had like Paint It Black, Mamas and the Papas, Beach Boys inserted in.
Nice.
And the actual theme song was Paint It Black, but because of the licensing, the DVD versions and the syndicated versions now have a made theme. It's
MIDI
generic
Paint
music.
It Black.
No, it doesn't even have that. It's annoying.
Damn.
But no, it's well worth it.
They should have imagine Paint It Black here, and just put the insert that what would have been playing here.
Oh, you'd like it in episode 3. There's a nice appearance of M1 Garand that
cool.
one of the sympathetic Saigon villagers has, and he dispatches a few VC with it. And helps the GIs because they think he's coming out of his hut to hurt them.
Yeah.
During this firefight, and someone's like, "Watch him! He's got a rifle!" And then he pops up and he shoots one of the VC that's about to fire an RPG at someone or a machine gun at someone. Right. And they go, "Oh, don't worry, he's like one of us," because they were trying to evict him from his house, and he didn't want to leave. But then when the VC came, he did fight with the Americans, and then they all changed their mind on.
I see. Right.
It's cool because the people that you concentrate on, they become sympathetic as they learn more, whereas they're quite hard-headed. It humanizes the VC quite well, actually, because sometimes with these movies they're just faceless things to shoot at, whereas I think for something made in the 80s quite close to it, I think it does give the Vietnamese people a bit more to say than just they're just there. But I'd recommend it.
It does sound interesting.
Yeah, it does. It is.
Well, there we go. That's what we're watching at the moment, basically. So one really modern and one Cold War.
80s.
So that's always nice to combine old and new. So as always, don't forget to check out fightonfilm.com. Check out our Twitter @fightingonfilm, where we do all these crazy froth hypotheticals and get you to put food into titles of war movies. What's not to like?
What's not to like?
Please do leave us a review on Apple Pods or wherever you're listening. And thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone. Catch you next time.
Oh, look at that. Jinx. Bye.
Bye.